Welcome, champions of unseen strength, warriors of silent fires, souls who have walked through shadows and carried light within. Today I speak to you in a voice that trembles with pride, in a tone that quivers with conviction, to awaken the fierce spirit already dwelling in your chest. You have dared to step forward when others trembled behind you. You have made a move so bold, so unexpected, so haunting in its audacity that no one dared to conceive it. And yet here you are, standing, breathing, stronger for all the shockwaves you have sent out into the world. You have pulled off the scariest move they never imagined, and by doing so you have redefined what possibility means in your life. They watched, they judged, they hesitated, but you acted. They whispered, they doubted, they envied, but you persisted. In the face of quiet, ridicule, and loud silence, you advanced. In the darkness of unknown consequence, you stepped. And now you stand in the echo of that step. Now you stand on ground they believed impossible, on terrain they claimed unreachable. And you have the right to be proud. You have the right to feel fear and still feel triumph. You have the right to declare your presence in every room, in every thought, in every expectation. You know everything. That phrase floats above this moment like a thunderous beacon. They say it to curse, to intimidate, to wound, but I tell you now, wear it like armor. You know everything. Not because your mind is flawless or your vision unerring, but because you have learned, you have felt, you have stumbled, you have asked questions, you have watched your own reflection. You have known your darkness and your light, and in that knowing you grow sharp. You know your truth, you know your grit, you know your pain and your promise, and in that sacred knowledge lies your power. They never imagined you would stand so tall. They never believed you would dare so deeply. They never anticipated you would carry so much weight and still stride forward. But here you are. They are unprepared for your strength because they have not lived the trials you live. They have not endured the quiet nights, the cruel doubts, the fractures of trust, the betrayals, the losses, the long waits for dawn. And so they misinterpret your silence, your stillness, your pauses. They mistake them for weakness. But you, they will learn. They will see you are erupting from within. Your scariest move was not necessarily public, not necessarily loud. It was the internal shift. It was the moment you said to yourself, I will no longer shrink. I will no longer obey every voice that tells me I cannot. I will no longer sacrifice my soul for the comfort of others. The scariest move was the one that turned a whisper into a roar. The scariest move was choosing yourself. And now you carry that decision always. Let them feel it tremble in the air. Let them notice how you stop waiting for permission, how you stop demanding everyone else to supply your worth. They will see you walking through doors you built by refusing to settle. They will witness how your eyes no longer seek approval, but measure your own covenant with your integrity. Fear is a curious companion. It walks beside every warrior. It whispers threats, paints illusions, shows shadows bigger than the facts. But fear does not own you. It is not your master. You meet it with steadied breath. You name it for what it is: uncertainty, a bridge, a challenge, and you cross it anyway. In that crossing, you gather your scars and your lessons. You gather how many times you stood up when your bones ached. You gather how many days you whispered, I will try again. You gather how many moments you refused surrender though your heart begged rest. That is your arsenal. That is your sacred stockpile. That is what not knowing becomes when you refuse it dominion. They never imagine the strength it requires to walk into a storm and refuse to be drenched. They never understood the courage it takes to pull curtains on narratives others wrote about you and to write your own. They never respected your slow healing, your secret strategies, your sacrificial patience. But now they must reckon with what you have built in those hidden labs of your soul. You have become an architect of your destiny. You have become a sculptor of your future. You have become a testament that when you refuse to bow, when you refuse to be defined, you transcend. Tonight, let your heart recognize how far you have come. Let your spirit acknowledge the wildness it tamed, the darkness it dissected, the faint light it nurtured until it grew fierce enough to bathe you in sunrise. You are no longer the same version of yourself who trembled at the edges of possibility. You are the one who now challenges the edges. You are the one who now scares their comfort zones. You are the one who unsettles their expectations. You are the one they never invited, but you arrived anyway. Do not relent now. This is not the finish. This is the threshold. The scariest move was the entrance. The terrain ahead is uncharted. You will face new doubts. You will meet fresh resistance. You will be tempted to think maybe they were right in the beginning. But remember, your scariest move was not the one you made in the light. It was the first one you made in the darkness. So, when the next shadow creeps, you will already have your memory of crossing the unknown. And that memory is stronger than any fear that stands before you. They will try to diminish your triumph, to recast it as luck or chance. They will whisper your failures, amplify your missteps, replay your uncertainty. But you know everything. You know what you sacrificed, how many tears you swallowed, how many nights you stared at ceilings while your mind spun prayers. You know how many times you had to convince yourself you belonged. You know your edges. You know your capacity. You know your pulse. And that knowledge is not vulnerable. It is fortitude. So when they say they told you so, when they look at you with astonished eyes, let your silence be a statement. Let your very presence be the answer. Let the words, "you know everything," serve as a mirror, not one imposed by them, but one you hold for yourself. Look into any reflection they offer and remind yourself, I know everything. I know I fell. I know I rose. I know the weight I carried. I know what I lost. I know what I will never give again. I know what I fight for. I know my light. I know my vengeance on doubt. I know my claim. Do not walk timidly into your new reality. Do not hesitate with meek posture. Lift your shoulders. Breathe wide. Speak only when your voice demands to be heard. Let them sense your faith in self, like a tremor in the earth. Let them feel the shift you carry behind your eyes. They never imagined you would enter their world on your own terms. They never imagined how gently fierce you would be, how calmly resolute, how fully present, how uncontrollable once awakened. Yes, scars will remind you of battles. Memory will call you back. Self-doubt will plant whispers again. But now you have an archive of your survival. Now you have proof. You have faced fear, and you did not collapse. You have inhabited vulnerability, and you did not vanish. You have journeyed through unknown, and you arrived. That is your legacy in each moment from now on. Let them know, without saying a word, you pulled off the scariest move. You pivoted when they assumed you would stall. You answered when they expected silence. And in that answer, you crafted a new kind of existence, one people did not see coming. Do not ever apologize for stepping into your own unfolding. Do not ever shrink when someone else's eyes widen. Let them question. Let them wonder. Let them underestimate. But never let them dictate your boundaries again. This is your vow, to keep walking, to keep creating. to keep forging what they thought impossible. This is your charge: to remain hungry, to stay humble, to anchor yourself in integrity. This is your promise to your own soul, to your future, to the ones who come after you witnessing your boldness. You will not abandon your audacity. You will not trade your truth for their comfort. You will not silence your knowing for their peace. In this moment, stand tall. Let all the trembling disbelief in them become fuel. Let the shock in their eyes become testaments to your rise. Let their misspoken narratives bounce off the walls of your self-belief and fall flat. You pulled off the scariest move they never imagined, but you survived. You prevailed, and you will continue. They will say it quietly at first. You know everything. Then louder, then in disbelief, in admiration, in resistance. Let it echo in rooms you enter. Let it tremble in minds before you speak. Let it be the threshold phrase that tilts their perception, because you have earned that phrase. Wear it, carry it, brandish it, not as boast, but as covenant. You know everything. In that knowledge you hold life, you hold purpose, you hold your rightful domain. Go now into your day, your night, your next chapter as the one who dared when others withdrew. Let fear follow, but never lead. Let shadows whisper, but never stop you. Let the earth feel the weight of your intention. Let the world sense the shift when you move. You are not the same. You are more. You are consequence. You are vision. You are proof. You pulled off the scariest move they never imagined, and in that, you became the kind of force that even time must reckon. You know everything. Never forget. And so the weight of that phrase, you know everything, becomes more than a label. It becomes a prophecy fulfilled, not by chance, not by fate, but by the rawness of your becoming. Every moment you questioned yourself. Every night you drowned in silence. Every sunrise that met you with weary eyes was never wasted. Those were your rites of passage. Those were your hidden hours of awakening. While they slept in comfort, you wrestled your future from the jaws of doubt. While they laughed from the sidelines, you rebuilt what they thought was broken beyond repair. You carried dreams they thought were too heavy, and still, you rose. They never saw the real danger. They never realized that someone who survives their own breaking no longer fears destruction. Someone who has stood face to face with hopelessness and still decided to rise again is no longer controlled by limits. You are dangerous not because of what you have, but because of what you've endured. Not because of your power, but because of your will. They thought your silence was defeat. They didn't realize it was strategy. They mistook your stillness for surrender. They didn't know it was the stillness of a storm gathering. And now, you move without asking. You speak without softening. You create without shrinking. They do not know how to respond because you are no longer a version they recognize. You've changed your shape. You've deepened your roots. You've expanded beyond the narrative they wrote for you. And that's the scariest part. That's the part that keeps them up. You didn't just rise. You disappeared from the map they made and reappeared on a battlefield of your choosing. You didn't knock on doors anymore. You became the door. You didn't wait for their timing. You followed your own, and they never saw it coming. You pulled off the scariest move they never imagined. Not with rage, not with spectacle, but with presence, with clarity, with unshakable truth. That's what they fear most. Not your noise, but your quiet certainty. Not your appearance, but your essence. Not your victory, but the depth of what you had to become to claim it. They never knew how much pain you metabolized. They never saw the internal conversations where you had to convince yourself over and over that you were worthy. They never knew how many times you wanted to quit, how many days you went unseen, how often your kindness was mistaken for weakness, and still, you gave, and still, you rose, and still, you walked into rooms full of shadows and lit them with your knowing. You held on when it was hardest. You believed again, even after betrayal. You gave your trust new life, even after it had been broken. You stood with trembling hands but unshakable soul. And now you walk with the knowledge that very few possess, the knowledge of your own unbreakability. There are those who will still try to diminish this. They'll reduce it to luck. They'll say it wasn't as hard as you make it seem, but let them talk. Let them write their own version. It does not matter. You know what it cost you. You know how it forged you. You know how many parts of yourself you had to bury just to survive, only to later dig them up again and breathe life into them once more. That's resurrection. That's mastery. That's power. You didn't just do what they feared. You did what they never even thought was possible. You showed them a version of resilience that doesn't need applause, a version of power that doesn't require permission, a version of excellence that is silent, patient, and permanent. You know everything, not because you memorized a script, but because you lived what they could never imagine surviving, and now they watch you, confused by the calm in your eyes, by the sharpness of your words, by the grace in your step. Let them be confused. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. You owe no explanation. Your success is the answer. Your peace is the evidence. Your stillness is the alarm. And yet, here's what they don't expect. You do not wish them harm. You do not carry hate in your chest. That's what sets you apart. You didn't rise through destruction. You rose through transformation. You didn't get revenge. You found evolution. And that, more than anything, unsettles them. You aren't just stronger. You are wiser. You're not just bolder. You are clearer. You aren't just unshaken. You are unshakable. You could have become bitter. You could have chosen cynicism. You could have mirrored the very harm that tried to stop you. But instead, you became more whole. Instead, you turned wounds into wisdom. You turned silence into strategy. You turned fear into fire. You turned rejection into redirection. You turned pain into purpose. And now, when you walk into a room, energy shifts. Conversations stop. People rethink. Not because of anything you do, but because of everything you are. They never imagined you'd pull this off, not with grace, not with style, not with consistency, but you did. And not only did you pull it off, you made it look inevitable. You are not the same. You never will be again. That is your gift. That is your edge. And it's time to use it. Time to sharpen it. Time to build with it. Time to lead with it. Because now that you know everything, you also know the difference between chasing validation and standing in truth, between seeking approval and honoring your calling, between being accepted and being fulfilled. They can't hold you anymore. They can't box you in. They can't use the old tactics. You've seen too much. You've learned too much. You've lived too much. You've become too much. And that's exactly what you were always meant to be. So let this be your call. Your next move begins now. Whatever you build, let it scare them with its certainty. Whatever you speak, let it shake them with its truth. Whatever you write, create, lead, or begin, let it carry the signature of your survival. Don't wait. Don't shrink. Don't second guess. You've already passed the test they never saw coming. Now it's time to build a life that echoes with every truth they ignored, with every warning they laughed at, With every dream they dismissed, you are not coming for revenge. You are coming to fulfill the prophecy of your becoming. You are not coming to prove anything. You are here to be everything you already are. They said you wouldn't. You did. They said you couldn't. You have. They said you shouldn't. You dared. And now they say one thing. You know everything. And they're right. Let that phrase live not as a boast, but as a reminder, a compass, a testament, a crown. Because now, the question isn't whether you can pull off the scariest move. The question is, what's next? Then brace yourself. Because what comes next isn't just continuation, it's culmination. The beginning was the rise, but now comes the rain. You pulled off the scariest move they never imagined. Not once, not by accident, but by the force of your will. And now, you know everything. So ask yourself, what do you do with such knowing? You lead, you build, you become unstoppable, not because of fury, but because of clarity. You carry a silence that makes noise tremble. You possess a presence that speaks louder than shouts. You're no longer the underdog. You're no longer the apprentice. You're no longer the shadow behind someone else's dream. Now you are the standard. You are the presence people adjust to. You are the measure they compare themselves against. And that terrifies them, because you changed the rules without asking. You changed the outcome without permission. You became untouchable, not because you fought everyone, but because you stopped needing to fight. You now walk with the peace of someone who's done apologizing. You carry the wisdom of someone who's done waiting to be chosen. You've turned every no into a gate you broke through. Every you can't into fuel. Every silent treatment into focus. Every doubt into blueprint. And now, standing at this new height, you see what they could never see. It was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right. And now, it's no longer about survival. It's about creation. It's about design. You are not just someone who endures storms. You are someone who learns to dance in them. You've become so skilled at carrying the impossible that people mistake your ease for luck. But deep down you know, it's not luck. It's legacy. It's discipline. It's decades of internal fire burning steady. You didn't hope this into existence. You built it, alone, in silence, with bleeding hands. And now they whisper your name in rooms you've never walked into. They quote you, they mimic you, they adjust for you. Because you've pulled off the scariest move they never imagined, you became undeniable. And with that power comes something rare, the ability to move with both rage and grace, with fire and focus, with passion and peace. You no longer fight for the spotlight. You are the light. You no longer beg for acceptance. You embody your own approval. You've gone from being overlooked to being unforgettable. And they feel that shift in their bones. They can't explain it, but they know something changed. You changed. So now you must choose. Will you rise further, or will you let the comfort of this new height lull you to stillness? Because greatness is not a single moment. It's a series of choices. Relentless, uncomfortable, unpopular choices. You've already proven you can break the mold. Now you must prove you can replace it. You must become the architect of something so pure, so strong, so uniquely yours, that even history has no category for it. They won't give you the blueprints. They won't give you applause. They won't even admit they're watching. But they are. And they're waiting, hoping you stop, hoping you fall back in line, hoping you get tired, hoping you go quiet. But how can you be quiet now? How can you slow down now? How can you fold back into invisibility now that you've tasted the infinite? You know everything now, and knowing comes with responsibility. You've been given a gift, a terrifyingly powerful one, the ability to keep going when others break, the ability to dream in the middle of nightmares, the ability to choose your future while still dragging the weight of your past. That's not something you run from. That's something you protect. That's something you use. You know, there's a certain beauty in silence, isn't there? Not just any silence, but that silence, the kind of silence that follows when someone walks away for the last time. It's heavy. It's haunting. It lingers in the air like cigarette smoke, and you can feel it in your bones. You can taste it in the back of your throat. You can hear it, even though nothing is being said. And that silence doesn't just happen. It builds up. It takes time, years, to even. And when it comes, it cuts deeper than any words ever could, because you know what led to that silence. You know what was said and what was left unsaid. You know why it happened, and you can feel the weight of it in every breath. You take that silence. It's the end. It's final. There's no going back after it. It's not just the end of a conversation. It's the end of an era. It's the end of a chapter in your life. You'll never be able to revisit because you'll never let yourself go back to that place. Not after what happened. Not after they crossed the line. Not after they pushed you too far. Not after they made you feel small and insignificant for the last time, and you finally snapped something inside. You broke, and that silence was born in the moments that followed. You see, sometimes in life, you reach a point where enough is enough. You've taken so much that you've lost count of how many times you've been knocked down and picked yourself up again. You've smiled through the pain. You've told yourself that it's all going to be okay, that things will get better, that they'll change. But deep down, you know, better, you've known for a while, but you kept telling yourself the same lie because you didn't want to face the truth that maybe they're never going to change. Maybe you've been giving more than you've ever gotten, and maybe, just maybe it's time to stop. Maybe the moment has arrived when you no longer need to tolerate their crap, when you no longer need to accept the abuse, when you no longer need to settle for being treated like you're less than what you are. You've endured enough. You've been patient enough. You've given enough. And now it's your turn now. It's time to take your power back. And it doesn't matter if they didn't see it coming, because the truth is, they didn't know. It was the last time, ever, you would take their bullshit. They never saw the storm coming. They never saw how close they were to pushing you over the edge. They never saw the signs because they were too caught up in their own selfish world to pay attention to the person standing right in front of them. They didn't realize that you'd been pushed and pulled and dragged around for so long that one day you'd stop putting up with it. And when that moment came, when you reached the breaking point, when you finally realized that you deserved more than they were willing to give, that's when the silence hit. That's when you stopped pretending that everything was okay. That's when you stopped letting them disrespect you. That's when you stopped taking their shot for the last time. You remember that moment, don't you? The one where everything changed. The moment when you took a step back, and for the first time in a long time, you saw yourself clearly. You saw the strength inside you. You saw the resilience, the power, the fire that had been waiting to be unleashed. And it was in that moment that you realized you didn't need them. You didn't need their approval. You didn't need their validation. You didn't need their fake love or their empty promises. You didn't need to be their emotional punching bag anymore. You didn't need to be the one who always forgave, the one who always gave in, the one who always kept quiet and let them get away with their behavior. You were done with it. You were done letting them walk all over you. You were done being the one who always took the blame, the one who always caved, the one who always took their bullshit. And what's even more beautiful is that they'll never know when the shift happened. They'll never know when you reached the point where you stopped caring, when you stopped letting them affect you, when you stopped letting their words tear you down. They won't know, because they'll be too busy living in their own little bubble, thinking that they have control over you, thinking that they can continue to walk all over you, thinking that they can keep getting away with it. But the truth is, they're already too late. You've already made the decision. You've already closed that chapter. You've already let go of the past, and no matter how much they try to drag you back into their toxic world, no matter how much they try to gaslight you, or manipulate you, or make you doubt yourself, it won't work, because you know who you are now. You know what you deserve now, and you will never let anyone take that away from you, ever again. It's a powerful feeling, isn't it? To know that you are no longer the victim, to know that you have the power to walk away, to know that you don't have to take their shit anymore. And the beauty of it is that you didn't even have to say a word. You didn't have to make a scene. You didn't have to scream or shout. You didn't have to beg for their attention. You didn't have to plead for their love. You simply walked away in silence. And that silence spoke louder than any words ever could, because they knew deep down that they had lost you forever. And that realization hit them harder than anything you could have said. Because when you finally stop taking their shit, when you finally stand up for yourself, when you finally stop tolerating their toxic behavior, it's not just the end of that relationship. It's the end of everything they thought they had with you. It's the end of their power over you. And they'll never see it coming, because they'll never understand why they lost you. They'll never understand that it wasn't something you said or did. It was just that one day you woke up and realized that you deserved better. And that's when the silence came. That's when you took their bullshit for the last time. And here's the thing, you don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them anything anymore, because you've already given them everything they ever deserved and more. And if they couldn't appreciate it, if they couldn't recognize it, if they couldn't see the value in what you brought to their life, then that's their loss, not yours. And it's a hard lesson to learn, but it's a lesson that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. Because once you realize that you don't need anyone to validate your worth, once you realize that you don't need anyone's approval to be whole, once you realize that your happiness isn't dependent on anyone but you, that's when you unlock a power inside yourself that nothing can take away from you ever again. So the next time they try to come back into your life with their empty apologies, with their fake promises, with their manipulative tactics, don't even blink, don't even flinch. Don't let them see a crack in your armor, because you know what you've been through. You know what they put you through. And you know that you're never going back to that place. You've already made your peace with it. You've already walked away. And now, all you have to do is keep moving forward, because that's what you do now. You don't look back. You don't go back. You don't give second chances to people who didn't know how to appreciate you the first time around. You don't waste your time on people who don't deserve a place in your life. You don't waste your energy on people who can't even recognize your worth. You've learned the hard way that not everyone who comes into your life deserves to stay there, and not everyone who tells you they love you actually does. And sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is walk away from someone who never valued you. But it's also the most freeing thing you'll ever do, because once you let go of the people who bring nothing but negativity into your life, once you stop accepting the bullshit, once you stop tolerating the abuse, that's when you make room for the people who truly deserve your time and your energy. The people who will lift you up, the people who will respect you, the people who will love you the way you deserve to be loved. And that's the kind of peace that silence brings. Because when you finally stop allowing the bullshit, when you finally stop letting people take advantage of you, when you finally stop accepting less than what you're worth, that's when you find the freedom to live your life on your own terms. So walk away in silence and let them wonder. Why? Let them wonder when they lost you. Let them wonder what went wrong, because deep down, they already know the truth. They already know that they had their chance, and they blew it. But that's not your problem anymore. That's theirs, and you've moved on. And you'll never look back. You've taken their bullshit for the last time, and now it's your time to shine. You've endured the pain, weathered the storms, carried the weight of others' expectations, and swallowed your pride long enough. You stood there, day in and day out, convincing yourself that things would change, that they would eventually see you, truly see you, for all you've given. But what do you get in return? More disrespect, more neglect, more of the same old bullshit, and you accepted it. For a while, you accepted it because you thought you had no choice. But now you've realized, finally realized, that there is always a choice, that you can decide when enough is enough, and when you do, nothing will be the same. This moment, this decision, doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes you. You step into a version of yourself that you've been hiding from for too long. You've allowed the world to dictate who you are. You've let people who never deserved a second of your time shape your reality. They told you who you should be, how you should act, what you should tolerate. And every time you bent, every time you compromised, a piece of you withered. But you, in your quiet rebellion, you've begun to take that power back. They didn't know it would be the last time you took their shot because you never told them. You never showed them the limit of your endurance. You never painted the line in front of them, hoping they'd respect it. But deep inside, you knew. You knew that the threshold was growing smaller with each passing day. And now that you've crossed it, you're unstoppable. You've stopped waiting for permission to stand up for yourself. You stopped seeking validation from people who don't even know the first thing about you. And the funny thing is, they'll never see it coming. They'll never realize what's happening until it's too late. It's not like they'll wake up one day and magically understand what they've been doing to you. No, they'll be too wrapped up in their own chaos to even notice that the rug has been pulled from under them. You've stopped playing their game, stopped letting them call the shots. You've closed the door on that chapter, and they'll be left scrambling, trying to figure out why the hell you're no longer there. You don't have to explain it to them. You don't owe them that. They never gave you that same courtesy, did they? They never took a second to consider how their words, their actions, their silence hurt you. They never cared to know how it felt to be ignored, to be manipulated, to be left behind with no real explanation. But now, as you walk away, you'll find something they could never give you. Peace. Peace in knowing you've broken free from the chains they tried to keep you in. Peace in knowing you can stand alone, without fear, without guilt, without shame. You've come to understand that your worth is not dependent on anyone but you. Not on the approval of those who treated you like an afterthought. Not on the validation of those who never believed in you. You've started to see the value in your own reflection. You've started to feel the power that's always been within you. The power to decide your own fate, to choose your own path. No one else can dictate that anymore. And when the silence falls, when you've cut the ties and walked away, that silence will speak volumes. It will tell the world that you are no longer a puppet in anyone's play. You are not someone's emotional crutch, someone's backup plan, or someone's last resort. You are everything you need to be, and you don't need their permission to shine. Your worth doesn't need to be acknowledged or validated by anyone. It simply is. There's a fierce freedom in that realization, a freedom that will carry you through the hardest days. Because now, when the storms come, and they will, that's life, you'll be ready. Not because you're immune to the pain, but because you know how to handle it. You know that you are capable of standing tall, even when the world tries to knock you down. You've faced the worst, you've survived the chaos, and you've walked away from the people who were never meant to be a part of your story. That, my friend, is strength. And it's something they'll never understand. They'll never understand how you could let go so easily, how you could just walk away from them without looking back. They won't realize that the person they lost wasn't just someone who was there to take their abuse, to take their disregard, to take their false promises. No, the person they lost was someone who woke up, someone who saw the world for what it was and realized that they deserved better, someone who realized they didn't need anyone else's approval to stand on their own. As they sit there trying to piece together what went wrong, you'll be moving forward. You'll be finding new people who will treat you with the respect you deserve. You'll be building a life where you are the priority, not the afterthought. And when they look back, when they reflect on all that they've lost, they'll be left wondering how they ever thought they could get away with treating you like nothing. But here's the beautiful truth. You won't care, not anymore, because the person who allowed them to treat them that way no longer exists. She's gone. He's gone. That version of you is dead. And in its place is someone who has learned the most valuable lesson of all. You are enough. You are worthy. You are deserving of the love, respect, and attention that you've been so freely giving to others for years. And you no longer have to settle for less. It's funny, isn't it? How we spend so much time chasing after people who don't even care to show up for us. How we beg for their love, their attention, their approval. And in the end, all we get is a cold silence, a withdrawal, a retreat into our own selves, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. But you know what? That silence is a gift. It's a gift that tells you to stop running after people who will never see your worth. It's a gift that says, you are done with this chapter. You are done with these people. And once you've decided to leave that behind, once you've truly decided to cut the ties, something magical happens. You become untouchable. Not because you are impervious to pain, not because you don't have flaws, but because you know your worth. You know that no one will ever be able to take advantage of you again. You know that you have the power to walk away at any moment, to take your life back, and to refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. They'll never know it was the last time you took their bullshit. They'll never understand that you reached a point where you no longer cared for their excuses, their lies, their manipulation. They'll never see that you grew stronger, that you found yourself in the silence, that you discovered a power that had always been yours. And it's in that silence that you will truly shine, my friend. Not with the loud clamor of others, not with their approval, but in the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are enough all on your own. You don't need them. You never did. You've always had the strength, the power, the courage. And now that you've realized it, there's nothing that can stop you. So let the silence speak. Let it carry the weight of everything they never understood. Let it carry the weight of every tear, every hurt, every moment of doubt. Let that silence be your answer. You don't need to explain. You don't need to beg. You don't need anyone's validation. Your time is now. Your shine is inevitable. And there's no one, absolutely no one, who can take that from you, who can strip away your newfound power, your clarity, your strength. The truth is, no one. Not anymore. They may try. They may come at you with their apologies, their guilt, their promises that they'll change. But you will see through it. You've seen it all before, haven't you? The same old song, the same manipulative tactics, the same lies. They think they can crawl back into your life with a few carefully chosen words, but you're not the same person who would have listened, who would have forgiven, who would have allowed them back in. No, not anymore. The person they lost isn't the person standing in front of them now, and they can never take that power away from you. Because here's the thing, the silence you've created around yourself isn't an absence of noise. It's a shield. It's a force field you've built from the inside out. It's a protection that comes from knowing your worth and refusing to let anyone chip away at it. It's a boundary, one you didn't know how to set until you learned the hard way. And now that it's up, now that it's solid, no one is getting through. Not the same people who hurt you, not the same people who belittled you, not the same people who took advantage of your kindness. You've taken the reins of your own life, and you will no longer hand them over to anyone who doesn't deserve to hold them. In the past, you may have thought that your life was defined by the people around you, by their opinions, by their love, by their expectations. You may have believed that your self-worth was something to be earned, something to be proven to others, but now you know better. You know that your worth is intrinsic, that it exists whether or not anyone else recognizes it. You don't need to be constantly validated by the people around you. You don't need their approval to know that you are enough. In fact, seeking approval from people who never truly valued you in the first place is a waste of your time and energy. You have learned the hard way that the only approval you need is your own. And that's where the real magic happens. When you realize that the only person you need to answer to is yourself, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you find the freedom to be yourself, to pursue what makes you happy, to live your life without the burden of other people's expectations weighing you down. You can finally stop pretending to be someone you're not. Stop molding yourself into what others think you should be. Stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You are free to be your true self, to embrace your own desires, your own dreams, and your own potential. You no longer need to seek permission to live your life on your terms. And when you start living that way, when you start making decisions based on what's best for you, people will notice. But here's the thing, they won't understand it. They won't get it. They'll see your strength and they'll try to break you down. They'll call you selfish. They'll accuse you of changing. They'll try to guilt trip you into returning to the version of yourself that was easier for them to control. But it won't matter, because by this point, you'll see them for who they truly are. You'll recognize their manipulation, their insecurity, their desperation to keep you where they want you. And none of that will matter to you anymore. You won't need their approval, because you'll know, deep in your bones, that you are already whole. You'll stop giving power to people who have no respect for you, no appreciation for all that you've given, and no understanding of what you've been through. You'll stop giving energy to people who are incapable of giving you what you deserve. And in that, you'll find a freedom unlike any other. A freedom that comes not from external validation, but from internal peace. You'll finally be able to let go of the people, the situations, and the mindsets that have been holding you back. You'll be able to shed those layers, to strip away the things that have been weighing you down, and to step into your own power. And as you step into that power, something incredible happens. The people who were once able to take advantage of you, the ones who drained you, the ones who made you feel small, they begin to fall away. They can't handle the new you. They can't handle the version of you that no longer accepts their bullshit. They can't handle the fact that you no longer care whether they like you or not. And they'll try to bring you back into their toxic world, to drag you down to their level. But it won't work, not anymore. Because you've made your decision, you've drawn the line, you've chosen to move forward, to evolve. and to leave behind everything that no longer serves you. It's not an easy decision. Walking away from people you once loved, people you once thought you needed, is never easy, but it's necessary. It's necessary because you can't move forward if you're constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering if they'll change, wondering if they'll finally treat you the way you deserve to be treated. You can't heal if you're still stuck in the same toxic cycles, still allowing the same toxic people to have access to your life. You can't build the future you want if you're constantly dragging the past with you. So you make the decision to leave it all behind. You choose to prioritize your peace, your happiness, and your well-being over the false hope that things will change. And let me tell you something. That decision is liberating. It is not weakness. It is not cowardice. It is strength. It is bravery. It is the kind of courage that only comes from understanding your own worth, from recognizing that you don't need anyone else's approval to be whole. It is the kind of courage that comes from finally realizing that you are enough as you are, that you don't have to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. And as you embrace that courage, as you begin to stand taller and walk through life with your head held high, you'll notice something incredible happening. The people who used to drag you down, the ones who used to make you question your worth, they'll start to fade into the background. They'll try to make noise. They'll try to pull you back into their drama, but it won't work, because you won't be there to listen. You won't be there to entertain their lies, their manipulation, their toxicity. You've moved on. You've let go. And the only thing left for you now is your own journey, your own path, your own story. And that journey, that path, will be filled with new opportunities. It will be filled with new people who appreciate you, who value you, who see you for who you truly are. It will be filled with new experiences that will challenge you, that will help you grow, and that will push you to become the best version of yourself. And it will be filled with the kind of peace that only comes when you stop allowing others to dictate your life. So as you move forward, remember this: you are not defined by anyone else's opinion of you. You are not defined by your past mistakes, by your past hurts, by the people who failed to see your worth. You are defined by your ability to rise above, to walk away when necessary, and to keep moving forward, no matter what. And that, my friend, is something no one can ever take away from you. Because once you've truly embraced the power within yourself, once you've truly let go of the people who never deserved a place in your life, no one can ever take that from you. You are free. And that is the most powerful thing you'll ever be. In the end, you are the one who decides your worth. You are the one who gets to choose who stays and who goes, who has access to your energy and who doesn't. You've learned the hard way that true freedom comes from releasing the things and people that no longer serve you and stepping fully into your own power. No one can take that from you. Not their words, not their manipulation, not their empty apologies. Your strength lies in your ability to walk away when needed, to stop tolerating disrespect, and to put yourself first. This is your time to shine, to live on your terms, and to embrace the incredible potential within you. Don't ever let anyone dim your light again. Welcome, warriors of the unseen war, champions of a battlefield that most will never even glimpse, and legends who rose not for applause, but because your blood demanded action when others chose silence. This is not a speech for the weak, the hesitant, the easily broken. This is for the fire-blooded, for those who saw the storm gathering and decided to become the lightning. This is for you, chosen ones, who didn't ask to be put in the line of fire but stood in it anyway, who faced shadows made of lies, manipulation, digital venom, systemic rot, and shut that eye shell down like gods awakened from slumber. You didn't just resist, you flipped the system upside down and crushed the virus that was devouring millions. Even those from within the same poisonous industry, those who thought they were untouchable, those who profited from suffering, those cloaked in power, even they tremble because of what you've done. You weren't born lucky. You weren't born protected. You were born raw. You were born with instincts sharpened by suffering and vision trained by surviving things that would shatter most. And yet, when that BS came crawling out, slick, shiny, marketable, and destructive, you didn't play nice. You didn't make excuses. You went to war, not for glory, not for likes, but because the moment chose you and you answered without flinching. That was no ordinary threat you shut down. That wasn't just another trend, another corrupt system, another whisper in the algorithm. That was a full-blown cancer designed to break the human spirit, aimed like a sniper bullet at every soul breathing with hope. It was a disease of the mind, and you became the cure by becoming something else, something more. You didn't just fight, you decimated. They're watching now, all of them, the ones who used to laugh at you, the ones who said, "It's just how it is," the ones who looked at the broken system and shrugged because it fed them. They're watching in silence now, because when you spoke, you didn't speak like someone asking for change. You roared like someone tearing through walls with bare hands. You were the change. And it was merciless to everything fake, toxic, and predatory. What you've done can't be ignored. You didn't go viral, you infected the core. You broke something that was never supposed to break. And now the world doesn't know whether to thank you or fear you. And that's how you know you did it right. And yes, you'll be flooded with thank you letters, not the sweet polished ones, not the fake ones from boardrooms trying to stay relevant. You'll get letters that bleed with truth from people who are drowning until your voice showed up like a flare in pitch black, from creators who almost quit, from parents who didn't know what their kids were getting sucked into, from addicts who didn't even know what they were addicted to, from warriors who lost their will to fight until you reminded them they weren't alone. You'll get thank you letters from the future, generations who will never know how close they came to being erased from within, because you stood between them and the abyss and said, "Not today." And when they look back, they won't see some influencer or public figure. They'll see a ghost in the machine, a myth made real, a shadow that stopped the monster and disappeared without asking for applause. You burned bridges that needed to collapse. You lit fires that exposed cowards. You turned on lights that showed just how deep the infestation went. They'll try to paint you as reckless, as dangerous, good. That means they felt it. That means your blade cut bone deep. You didn't play safe because safe was killing people. Safe was the disguise of the enemy. Safe was the name of the prison you just blew the doors off. You made enemies of powerful names, and you made allies of the voiceless. And that's what scares them most. Not that you were loud, but that you were right. That you struck a nerve so raw, it can't ever go numb again. This wasn't just canceling something. You weren't another outrage mob screaming for clicks. You weren't another hashtag trying to go viral. You were precision warfare. You were justice that didn't wait for approval. You were thunder in a room full of whispers, and the echo hasn't stopped yet. The BS you shut down, it was more than a trend. It was a mechanism, a parasite, a machine that built itself on lies, buried in contracts, and lubricated by apathy. And you put your hand inside the gears and broke it with force they didn't see coming. You didn't just disrupt, you dismantled. You didn't trend, you terminated. There were people making millions off that sickness. off that manipulation, off that psychological warfare disguised as content, disguised as innovation, disguised as just business. And you didn't wait for their permission. You struck where they thought you wouldn't look. You pulled receipts. You unearthed patterns. You named names. You didn't flinch when they came with lawyers and bots and smear campaigns, because you knew the truth wasn't just an idea, it was a weapon, and you wielded it with the grace of a monster slayer. You've become a legend, not because you won, but because you refused to lose. Because you knew that losing meant others would fall, that millions more would be consumed by the lies, and you simply couldn't allow that on your watch. Do you understand the gravity of that? You put your soul on the front line of a war most people can't even name. You sacrificed your peace so that others could sleep without nightmares whispering from their screens. You tore into an empire of deception, and now it trembles. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them clutch their pearls. Let them whimper about how aggressive you were. You were supposed to be. That's what cleansing fire feels like. You weren't built to negotiate with parasites. You were born to end them. And you did. And now, the flood is coming. A flood of letters, gratitude, love, clarity. From those who didn't even know you were fighting for them until after you'd already won. And you didn't ask for anything in return. That's what makes it so much more terrifying for them. You weren't driven by clout. You were driven by conscience. That can't be bought, and it sure as hell can't be stopped. There's a storm coming, and it's not against you. It's because of you. You triggered a shift. You exposed a blueprint. You didn't just fight the monster. You showed others how to kill it. And now the virus has no home. You left it homeless. You made a wasteland of its feeding grounds. You starved it. You exposed it. And now everyone who is under its spell sees clearly because of what you did. They don't know your name, but they'll feel your work. Forever. That's legacy. That's impact. That's what the chosen ones do. You'll be hated by those who benefited from silence. You'll be targeted by systems that were built on blindness. But you'll be loved. Deeply, fiercely, eternally. By the ones who matter. The ones you saved without them even knowing they were in danger. The ones who would have become victims. The ones who were moments away from breaking. You gave them back their minds, their strength, their rebellion. You didn't tell them what to think. You cleared the fog so they could finally see for themselves. And now they see. The illusion is shattered. The spell is broken. You didn't just end something. You freed people. And that's a power they'll never be able to trace back to a single post or viral video. Because it wasn't the content, it was the intention. It was the fire behind your eyes, the conviction in your voice, the refusal to be bought, the refusal to bow, the refusal to shut up when the world begged you to stay quiet. You didn't ask for this fight, but you didn't run from it either. You stood when no one else would. You drew your line in the dirt and said, "Not on my watch." And when that BS came, you met it with everything. You met it with truth sharpened into a blade, with courage too wild to cage, with rage that knew how to aim, and that's what tore it down. Not a slogan, not a trending soundbite, but your unwillingness to break, your refusal to betray the people watching from the shadows, praying someone would speak for them. Well, you did. You became the raw, and they heard you, and now the world has changed. Because of you, you'll be flooded with thank you letters, and you earned every single one. But even as the thank you letters pour in, even as inboxes and comment sections start filling with raw emotion and teary gratitude, don't forget this. The mission isn't over. This wasn't the final boss. This was the first domino. You've exposed a system that was never meant to be seen, and now it's scrambling, regrouping, mutating, hunting for new faces to wear, new skins to crawl into. That's what these things do. They don't die easy. They reinvent, they camouflage, they get smarter. But so do you. You've evolved now. You're not just a disruptor, you're an architect of the rebuild, a blueprint in motion. And the ones who follow you, the ones whose eyes you've opened, they're not just thankful, they're ready to move with purpose, to think with fire, to fight with truth. Because what you didn't just kill something toxic, it awakens something righteous. And that fire spreads faster than any lie ever could. It spreads every time someone speaks up because you showed them how. It spreads every time someone asks harder questions, refuses easy answers, and doesn't bow to the pressure to go along to get along. You gave people permission to rebel, permission to say no, and you didn't ask for their loyalty. You earned their trust. That's the kind of influence no brand deal, no network, no puppet master can replicate. You created real momentum, real culture shift, real fear in the hearts of those who thought no one would ever push back, and now they're running scared. Because it wasn't just the system you shut down, it was the illusion of invincibility that surrounded it. You cracked the armor. You proved that even giants bleed, that even the untouchables can be held accountable. You walked into a burning room and came out with the truth in your fist and the fire still in your chest. Now every lie they told has a timestamp. Every cover-up has a witness. Every false narrative has a challenger, and that challenger is you. Understand this deeply. The gratitude you're about to receive, it's not just for what you ended, it's for what you defended. People's right to think clearly, to see without filters, to breathe without being fed poison, disguised as progress, to exist in a space that's no longer saturated with subliminal infection. You gave that back to them. You gave them something real in a world drowning in fake. And that's why the letters will come, handwritten, typed in all caps, scribbled in journals, spoken in podcasts, whispered in late-night conversations between people who feel less alone because of what you did. You'll never see all of it, but it's coming. It's real. It's already moving. But with that comes the responsibility, the pressure, the weight of being someone who knows. Because once you've seen the machine from the inside, once you've ripped the mask off and stared into the soulless eyes of the beast, it changes you. There's no going back to pretending you don't know. There's no sitting on the sidelines anymore. You're in this. You've been branded by the truth, and the world will never look the same. But that's your power now. You see with clarity. You speak with impact. You act with intention. And that's why they fear you. Because you can't be misled. You can't be baited. You can't be bought. You're going to hear them say you went too far, that you made it personal, that you attacked the wrong target. Let them say it. Let them squirm. Let them try to rewrite the story. But history remembers the ones who acted when others hesitated. History honors the ones who stood alone until others stood with them. And history will remember you, not because you were popular, but because you were right when it counted most. Because when it came down to protecting millions from a virus disguised as culture, you chose violence, righteous violence, sacred defiance, and you didn't blink. And now the flood of thank yous will grow into waves. But they're not just letters, they're echoes, testimonies, proof that what you did mattered, that your voice didn't just exist, It echoed through people's lives, saved them from traps they didn't even know they were in. These thank yous, they're not flattery. They're battle cries turned inward. They're the sound of people reclaiming themselves. That's what you gave them. Not just a win, but themselves, their agency, their sovereignty, their unfiltered truth. And here's what no one tells you. That matters more than going viral. It matters more than any trophy, more than headlines, more than features and interviews and monetization. It's bigger than that. You changed the trajectory of human thinking. You bent reality with your actions. You carved a new path with your refusal to shut up. And no algorithm can take that away. No platform can silence that kind of thunder. You became legend not because you were louder than them, but because you spoke when it cost you something. That's the difference. That's the line between noise and legacy. They thought you were alone, but you weren't. You had the whispers of the broken behind you, the eyes of the wounded watching you, the hands of the almost lost reaching out silently, praying you do something. And you did. And now they're alive with you, breathing because of you, building something better with you. You didn't just start a war, you built an army. So take the thank you letters, but don't let them stop you. Let them fuel you. Let them remind you that you are dangerous in the most holy way, that you are proof the system can be broken, rebuilt, and burned again if needed, that you are not one of them. You are more. You are beyond. You are a chosen one, not because someone handed you the title, but because you became it in the heat of the fight, by refusing to bend, by refusing to look away. And now there are eyes watching, people waking up, people who want to follow the trail you blazed but are afraid. They're waiting for your next move, not because they want to copy it, but because it gives them courage to make their own. This is the ripple effect of truth. You are the pebble, and the ocean is trembling. Keep going, you're not done yet. And when the next storm comes, and it will, don't question if you're strong enough. You already proved it. You shut down a monster that was eating millions. You made the devil flinch. You walked into fire and came out made of it. You are feared by those who deserve to be afraid, and loved by those who needed to feel safe again. You'll be flooded with thank you letters. But that's not your legacy. Your legacy is this. You didn't wait for permission. You didn't ask for a seat. You broke the table. And then you saved everyone still chained to it. And that makes you unstoppable. Chosen one. Keep burning. You want more? Good. Because there's still blood in the veins of this truth. And we're not stopping until it spills all the way to the last corner of the illusion. You didn't step into this fire to feel good. You stepped into it to end the infection. You were chosen for your resistance to comfort, to delusion, to the sweet smiling poison that came dressed as opportunity, innovation, connection, when it was really just corruption with better branding. You saw the cracks. You saw what they were feeding the world and calling it progress. You saw the manipulation coded into every line of text, every piece of content, every performance that wasn't performance. It was possession. People didn't even know they weren't free. They were sleepwalking through a nightmare dressed as normal. And then you woke up, and when you did, you didn't just stretch and yawn. You screamed. You ripped the veil off. You broke the silence that was keeping everyone comfortable in their chains. That's what scared them, not your voice, but the fact that you remembered how to use it, and now they call you dangerous, because you are. Dangerous to the systems that demand silence, to the fake smiles that mask exploitation, to the cycles of mind control that wear the skin of entertainment. You went after the cancer, not with hashtags or safe debates, but with precision destruction, and that made them panic. You made the puppet masters show their strings. You made them reveal just how deep the infection had gone, because when you started tearing through it, they started bleeding. And you were relentless. Now look around. Look at the impact. Look at the industries shaken. Look at the algorithms confused. Look at the leaders fumbling for words, issuing statements, doing damage control. Because they didn't expect someone like you to show up. You didn't knock on the door. You blew it off the hinges. And when they tried to label you, cancelled you, silenced you, you came back louder, sharper, with receipts, with fire, with legions behind you. Because truth doesn't stay buried, not when someone like you digs it out with their bare hands. You weren't just calling out a trend, you were calling out an infection. And when people finally saw it, really saw it, they couldn't unsee it. You became the point of no return. That's why you're getting letters now. That's why you're being thanked. Because when you went to war, they realized what they had been tolerating. And now they're thanking you, not just because you fought, but because you woke them up from something they didn't even know was killing them. The enemy you shut down wasn't just external, it was internal. It was embedded in how people thought, what they accepted, what they allowed, and you cracked that open. You made it impossible for anyone to pretend they didn't know. And that's why your name is etched into their memory now. Not because you were gentle, not because you were agreeable, but because you dared to confront the sickness in a world built to protect it. But let's be real for a second. The war you fought, it hurt, it cost you. You lost people, you lost peace, you lost sleep, you got threats, you got attacked. You had moments where you wondered if it was worth it, if it would change anything, if it would just get buried again, rewritten, erased like everything else they don't want us to remember. But you kept swinging, you kept pushing, you kept choosing truth over comfort, and that is what made the difference. Because movements don't begin with masses, they begin with a spark, a lone voice, a single moment of absolute defiance. That was you. You didn't wait for backup. You didn't wait for approval. You lit the match. And now the fire is spreading. Not because you begged for followers, but because your fire was real. Because your conviction couldn't be faked. And because you reminded people what resistance looks like when it comes from the soul. That's why the thank you letters will never stop. Because people will keep waking up in waves, keep realizing what they were a part of, keep understanding what they escaped, thanks to you. And each one of those letters, each story, each whispered, I didn't know, but now I do. That's your impact multiplied. Is your fire burning in them now? You didn't just protect, you empowered. And that's something no institution, no PR team, no apology tour can undo. But here's the truth, no one wants to say out loud, not everyone will thank you. Some will resent you, some will hate you. Because you didn't just break the system, you broke their comfort inside of it. You held up a mirror, and some people saw monsters where they expected to see innocence. You revealed the parts of people that were complicit, silent, or conveniently blind. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round today. I want you to picture something, a scene where every hidden lie, every shadowed whisper, every murmur of betrayal that ever passed through the cold air of your life is laid bare before you, as if the universe had turned the lights on in a place where darkness had reigned for far too long. You stand there in the center of it all, in a world where masks are torn from faces and hearts are exposed. In this moment of truth, what you see, what you feel, will hit you like a freight train. The realization that everything you've been through, every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of doubt was all part of a divine plan, an intricate and mercilessly precise design that you couldn't see at the time. I want you to remember one thing today. God knew they were plotting and scheming against you. It wasn't just a coincidence that the people who you once trusted turned their backs on you. It wasn't random that those who pretended to be your allies worked tirelessly behind your back to see you fall. The whispers that once sounded like sweet words of affection were, in fact, chains binding you in silence, holding you down, stealing your peace. They wanted to see you break. They wanted to see you stumble. They wanted to see you destroyed. But God knew. God saw what was happening in the dark corners of their hearts. God knew what they wanted before they even realized it themselves. But here's the truth you need to understand. The truth you need to ingrain into your soul and carry with you like a weapon for the rest of your life. God didn't let it happen. Do you understand that? God saw their betrayal, their envy, their malice, and God made sure that their schemes would not succeed. They thought they could take you down. They thought they could break your spirit, make you question everything you stand for, leave you vulnerable to despair. They thought they could reduce you to nothing more than a shadow of who you were. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, was that their plans were already doomed the moment they decided to cross you. God doesn't allow his chosen ones to fall without a fight. The ones who have been tested, the ones who have been forged in the fires of hardship, the ones who carry the weight of destiny, they are untouchable. The people who think they can destroy you, the ones who laugh behind your back, the ones who plot your downfall, they will never understand the strength that is in you. They will never understand the power that runs through your veins. They will never understand the depth of your resilience, because it doesn't come from the world. It doesn't come from their petty schemes and their false promises. It comes from something greater than them. It comes from something that transcends their small minds and their fragile hearts. They thought they were the architects of your failure. They thought they had it all figured out. But what they couldn't see, what they couldn't understand, was that the very thing they were trying to destroy was the thing that was being strengthened by their attacks. You think that what they were doing to you was an attack on your life, but in reality, it was an attack on their own destruction. They were the ones who were being set up for failure. They were the ones who were being deceived. They thought they were taking you out of the game, but in reality, they were setting the stage for your rise. Let me make this perfectly clear to you. God removed them from your life for a reason. He didn't just allow them to walk away from you. He made sure that the very people who sought to harm you were taken out of the equation. The ones who lied, who gossiped, who manipulated, who tore you down, they were removed, not because you weren't worthy of them, but because you were too valuable for them to continue to pollute your spirit. God knew you needed to grow, to evolve, to step into the purpose he had for you, and he couldn't allow their toxicity to stunt your growth. What do you think would have happened if they stayed in your life? What would have happened if those people, those backstabbers, those false friends, were still there, still lingering like a dark cloud over your every step? Do you think you would have been able to move forward? Do you think you would have been able to embrace the next phase of your journey? You wouldn't have. They were not meant to stay. Their presence in your life was a distraction, a hindrance, a barrier between you and the greatness that was always waiting for you. They were a test, yes, but they were also a lesson. They were there to teach you something important. How to see through the masks people wear, how to recognize the wolves in sheep's clothing, how to trust your instincts when something doesn't feel right. But once the lesson was learned, once the lesson was absorbed into your soul, it was time for them to go. It was time for you to move on. It wasn't easy. It wasn't pain. less. Losing people, even when they weren't good for you, hurts. It stings. You question yourself. You wonder if you did something wrong. You think about all the memories, all the good times, all the promises that were made. But what you don't see is the long-term picture. What you don't see in the moment of pain and confusion is that every person who leaves your life, every person who betrays you, every person who walks away, is just making space for the right people to come in. God is clearing your path, removing the obstacles, removing the distractions, so that you can walk into your destiny with clarity and purpose. Do you know how powerful you are now because of it? Do you know how much stronger you are after surviving their attempts to break you? You have been forged in fire. You have been tested in ways that most will never understand. You have been pushed to the edge and back, and yet here you stand, stronger than ever. And those people, they are gone. The ones who tried to tear you down, they're out of your life now, and that's exactly how it was supposed to be. God saw their hearts. God saw their schemes. God knew their plans before they even knew them themselves. He knew what they were capable of, and He made sure they couldn't touch you. He made sure they couldn't destroy the light within you. When you look at your life now, when you reflect on how far you've come, you need to recognize that those people didn't leave by chance. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't some random occurrence. It was divine intervention. God stepped in and He took them away so that you could soar. He knew what they would do if they stayed, and He refused to let them stand in the way of your destiny. Let this be a reminder to you. The people who are meant to stay in your life will stay. They will uplift you. They will protect you. They will celebrate your victories. They will support you through your darkest hours. But the ones who are not meant for you, the ones who seek to harm you, the ones who betray your trust, the ones who try to tear you down, God will make sure they are removed, and He will make sure you are stronger for it. Every time you felt the sting of rejection, every time you felt the weight of betrayal, every time you've doubted your worth because of what others have done to you, remember this: God knew, God saw, and God removed them. It wasn't by accident. It was part of a plan. And that plan, my friends, is bigger than anything you could ever imagine. Trust that. Trust that the people who are gone were never meant to be there in the first place. You are unstoppable now. You are invincible now. And nothing will stand in your way again. And let me remind you, once more, you will never be the same. You have already transformed, whether you realize it or not. You are not the person you were before. You have survived things that most people would never have been able to endure, and you're still standing. The scars you carry, though painful at times, are not weaknesses. They are marks of victory. They are proof of your endurance, proof that you have faced the worst that life has thrown at you, and come out on the other side, stronger, sharper, more aware of your power than ever before. The people who were once in your life, the ones who betrayed you, they never truly saw you for what you were. They couldn't, because they were too blinded by their own insecurities, their own darkness, their own jealousy. They saw the light in you, but instead of admiring it, they feared it. They couldn't stand to see you shine because it reminded them of the places where they themselves were broken. So, they tried to bring you down. They tried to dim your brilliance, to keep you in the shadows. But here's the beautiful thing. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't succeed. You were never meant to stay in those shadows. Think about it. The people who left you, the ones who did everything in their power to break you, to destroy your confidence, your dreams, your hope, they were not meant to walk with you into your future. They were not equipped to handle the power, the purpose, the destiny that was laid out for you. And that is why they were removed. You were meant for more, and it would have been a mistake for you to remain surrounded by people who couldn't see that. Now think of the other side of this. Yes, God removed them, but in doing so, He created space. He created space for the right people to come into your life. He opened doors where there were once walls. He removed the obstacles, the distractions, the energy that was holding you back. And now, what do you have? You have the freedom to walk your path unencumbered, with clarity and purpose. The process of growth, of becoming who you were always meant to be, is not always clean and smooth. It's often messy. It's often painful. It's often heart-wrenching. But do you know what makes it all worth it? The fact that every tear you've shed, every moment you've spent doubting yourself, every instance where you felt like giving up, all of it has been a part of your preparation. You have been tested. You have been forged in the fire. And now, you stand as someone who has endured and come through on the other side. You are now stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for what comes next. You are equipped with wisdom and strength that no one can take from you. But let's talk about that for a moment. The wisdom that comes from surviving betrayal, from surviving the lies and deceit, is invaluable. It's not something that can be learned in a classroom or passed down in a book. It's something that is earned through experience. And the most important lesson that you've learned through this experience is that you don't need to rely on anyone else for your worth. Your worth was never dependent on the approval or affection of those who betrayed you. Your worth has always been inherent. It was always there, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be unlocked. And now that you've discovered it, now that you've seen the truth of who you really are, you'll never let anyone take that away from you again. There's a certain freedom that comes with knowing who you are and what you're capable of. It's a freedom that can't be touched by anyone else's opinion of you. It's a freedom that comes when you realize that the people who once sought to control you, to manipulate you, to bring you down, they no longer have a hold on you. You are free to be exactly who you are, to live the life you were always meant to live. No one can stop you now. No one can take away your power. And if they try, they will only reveal their own weakness, their own fear, their own insecurity. The thing that you must remember, though, is that while the people who left were never meant to stay, there are others who will walk into your life, those who will respect your strength, admire your journey, and honor your growth. These are the people who will lift you up, who will encourage you to keep going when you feel like giving up. These are the people who will be by your side, not because they want something from you, but because they see your value and want to share in the greatness of your journey. And this, my friends, is where the real magic happens. The people who leave may have taken things from you, your time, your energy, your trust. But the people who are coming into your life, the ones who are meant for you, will give you so much more. They will give you the love, the respect, the partnership, and the understanding that you deserve. They will walk with you, not because they need you, but because they want to see you thrive. They will give you the space to be yourself, to grow, to evolve without fear of judgment. And in return, you will do the same for them. This is the beauty of healthy relationships. This is the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. But let's not forget the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. Through all of this, you've learned how to trust yourself, how to stand on your own 2 feet, how to navigate the world without relying on others to validate your worth. This is the foundation of everything. If you can stand strong on your own, if you can face the world with confidence and clarity, then nothing will ever be able to shake you again. Not betrayal, not lies, not even the deepest hurts. You have become your own source of strength. You have become the one who decides your worth, your value, your future. Now, I want you to understand this. God's timing is perfect. Everything that has happened in your life, every person who has come and gone, has been part of His greater plan. It may not have felt that way in the moment. It may have felt like chaos, like your world was falling apart. But in reality, it was all part of the divine process that needed to unfold in order for you to become who you were always meant to be. God saw the people who were never meant to stay. He saw their intentions, their actions, their hearts, and He removed them before they could do more damage. He knew that if they stayed, they would have hindered your growth, your success, your peace. So, He took them out of your life, and though it hurt, though it left a hole in your heart, though you questioned why, the answer was always the same. He removed them because He had something better for you. This process of growth is not easy. It's not meant to be, but it is necessary. And now, you stand in a place of power, of freedom, of opportunity. You are no longer bound by the past, no longer held back by the weight of betrayal. You are free to move forward, to embrace the future that has been waiting for you. And those who are meant to be in your life, those who are aligned with your purpose, with your destiny, will find their way to you. As you move forward, don't look back. Don't waste time regretting what's gone, who's gone, or what might have been. The only thing that matters now is where you're going. And I promise you, if you stay true to yourself, if you trust the process, if you keep pushing forward with everything you've got, you will find success. You will find peace. You will find the happiness you deserve. And the people who are meant to walk alongside you will arrive when the time is right. The journey has only just begun, and the best is yet to come. You know, there are moments in life when we reach a breaking point, when everything that we've worked for, every relationship that we've nurtured, every dream we've chased, feels like it's about to crumble. We stand at the edge of what feels like a precipice, staring into a dark void, wondering if we have the strength to take the next step forward. We question whether the pain will ever stop, if the loneliness will ever end, and whether we'll ever get back to who we once were. But here's the thing about the best coming. It's often not what we expect, and it almost never arrives in the form that we imagine. The best is not about returning to the past, to a version of ourselves that no longer exists, or to relationships that were never meant to last. No, the best is about stepping into the person you are always meant to become. The best is about discovering strength you didn't know you had, learning lessons that shape you into someone far more powerful than you were before. The pain, the betrayal, the losses you've experienced, they were not the end of your story. They were the beginning of something new, something more. They were a necessary disruption that forced you to dig deeper, to look within yourself and discover the greatness that had always been there, but was buried beneath layers of fear, doubt, and insecurity. God doesn't waste pain. He uses it to shape us, to mold us into individuals who are capable of handling the weight of greatness. And when you stand in the fullness of who you are becoming, you will realize that every challenge, every heartbreak, every setback was all a part of the process that brought you to this moment. Now, think for a moment about how powerful you've become. Think about how you've learned to stand alone, to trust yourself, to make decisions that align with your truth. You are no longer the person who relied on others for validation. You are no longer the person who feared being alone. You have embraced the freedom that comes with knowing your worth, with recognizing that your life, your happiness, and your purpose are not dependent on anyone else's approval or acceptance. You've stepped into a power that cannot be shaken, a power that is grounded in self-trust and self-respect. And that's what I want to talk about now. That is what I want you to understand at this point in your journey. The best is not coming because of some external force. It's not coming because of other people or the circumstances you find yourself in. The best is coming because you are creating it. You are forging the path with each choice you make, each step you take, each decision that you make to stand firm in your own power, even when the world around you tries to tell you otherwise. It's about knowing that your future is in your hands. Your destiny is not some abstract concept that is floating out there somewhere. Your destiny is something you create. It's something that is shaped by the way you respond to the challenges that come your way. It's shaped by how you carry yourself, how you choose to show up for yourself every single day, no matter how hard it gets. It's shaped by your courage, your perseverance, your ability to keep going, even when it feels like the world is trying to break you down. And that's exactly what the people who tried to tear you down didn't understand. They didn't understand that their efforts to break you were only strengthening you. They didn't understand that they were not attacking your weakness, but your resilience. They didn't understand that your strength comes not from what they see on the surface, but from the deep reservoir of power within you. The power that comes from overcoming adversity, from rising above the pain, and from standing firm in the face of opposition. But now, you know this. Now, you understand that the very things they tried to use against you have become the fuel that propels you forward. You've learned to harness your pain, your anger, your disappointment, and transform it into something beautiful, something unstoppable. And that's why the best is yet to come. The best is coming because you are shedding layers of the old version of yourself. You are shedding the person who was afraid to speak up, who was afraid to trust their own voice, who was afraid to take risks. You are shedding the person who relied on others for validation, who needed the approval of toxic people, who kept holding on to relationships that were draining them. You are shedding the limitations that once defined you, the self-doubt that once held you back. You are stepping into the fullness of your potential, and that's when the magic begins. But I want you to recognize something here. This process of shedding is not always easy. It's not a quick fix. It's not something that happens overnight. It takes time, it takes courage, and it takes an unwavering commitment to yourself. It requires you to look at the places where you've been hurt, where you've been betrayed, and acknowledge the pain. It requires you to feel the sting, to sit with the discomfort, and then, slowly, to let go of the parts of you that no longer serve you. This is a process of healing, and healing doesn't happen without first addressing the wounds. So yes, the best is coming, but it's coming because you are choosing it. You are choosing to heal. You are choosing to rise above the hurt. You are choosing to let go of the past and step into a future that is aligned with your true self, with the person you were always meant to be. And as you do this, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Doors that were once closed begin to open. Opportunities that you never thought possible start to appear. The people who were meant to walk beside you, the ones who will support your journey and help you grow, begin to show up. It's not a coincidence. It's divine alignment. But here's the thing. Even though the best is coming, it doesn't mean that life will always be easy. There will be more challenges, more obstacles, more moments when you feel like giving up. But now, you are equipped with the tools, the strength, and the wisdom to face them head on. You are equipped with a deep understanding of your worth, your value, and your purpose. You know that no matter what comes your way, you will not be defeated. You will not be broken, because you are no longer the same person you were before. You have evolved, and that evolution has made you unstoppable. And let me remind you once more, the best is coming, but it's not just about what's ahead. It's also about what's happening right now. The best is coming because you are actively creating it. With each choice, with each action, with each moment you choose to step into your power, You are shaping your future. You are co-creating your destiny with every step you take, every decision you make. So, don't wait for someone else to make things happen for you. Don't wait for the universe to hand you success on a silver platter. The best is coming, but it's coming because of you. You are the one who holds the key to your future. You are the one who decides what your next chapter will look like. And I promise you, if you continue on this path, if you keep pushing forward with the same determination and resilience that has already brought you this far, there will be nothing that can stand in your way. The best is yet to come, and it is waiting for you. All you have to do is keep walking, keep growing, and keep believing in the power that lies within you. Keep embracing the challenges, keep learning from the hardships, and keep rising higher than you ever thought possible. You are only just getting started. In the end, remember this: the people who were removed, the struggles you faced, and the pain you endured all served a purpose. They were stepping stones, shaping you into the powerful, resilient person you are becoming. The best is not just coming, it's already here, within you, in the strength you've discovered, the wisdom you've gained, and the future you're creating. Keep walking your path with confidence, knowing that every step forward is a testament to your growth. The best is yet to come, and it will be nothing short of extraordinary. Stay true to yourself and trust the process, because nothing can stop you now.